Availability, it's one of the most amazing things that your business should have. Like someone goes to your website and has the chance to talk. But when I say talk, it's actually talking with someone. It's amazing, 24 hours per day and with a really nice price. AI, it's one of our favorite topics by these days, and both together, talking and AI, they could make some miracles, hopefully, for your business. And today we will be talking about this. After the intro, I will go after Laurent. He's, as usual, in the basement with a little glass of water because the budget, it's decreasing, unfortunately. And now I just have one cookie. Stay there because I'll be back. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Special Marcoting Live Show. Don't forget, as usual, to hit the like button to subscribe to the channel if you like the video. Maybe we will have some nice things to talk about, hopefully. So also leave your questions if you are watching now live or if you get the replay. Don't forget as well to go to Substack and subscribe to the Marketing Live, okay, because there it's where the magic is happening. So today we have a kind of a globetrotter that went from France to the US and now he's in Israel doing lots of things, amazing things. Just let me start the music. I was thinking about doing this in French, like, et maintenant, on va avec nous, Laurent, but let's say it in English. So now, ladies and gentlemen, please stand to applause Laurent.
Hello, Marco,
thank you so much.
Lovely cookie, by the way. Thank you.
Okay, it was expensive. So we should like it. I hope one day I could, but for me it's difficult because I'm getting guests from everywhere. But maybe one day this will be kind of in person. Let me think. Maybe in the future I can pay my guests or I can get a plane. Maybe I can ask Cristiano Ronaldo to borrow his plane. So Laurent, merci beaucoup.
Thank you for having me, Marco. It's a real pleasure.
Yeah, so it's my pleasure. So we had, let me give some context to people watching us. So we had this pre-show interview, and I think the pre-show almost lasted more than the live show will last because we had an amazing conversation. So this is pretty good. By the way, I need to mention this. Podmatch is the tool that made this conversation possible. So shout out to Podmatch and also to Alex. So Laurent, would you mind introduce yourself and then we can start the conversation?
Yes, Mark. So hello, everyone. My name is Laurent. I'm 54, proud father of 3, born and raised in France. I've been living in the US since 2002, and I'm currently working between the US and Israel, where we have offices. I've been working in different fields, but mostly into digital since 2002. And I'm focusing right now on AI and especially voice AI. So I believe today we'll address any subject regarding AI, how AI can help you. You should tame AI because it needs to be tamed. And I think you and I have a lot of tips to share with your audience, Marco.
Hopefully we do. Yes, because we had, okay, we can start with this the question, one of the questions when we talk about AI. I'm sure that you heard this lots of things. I'm honest, even though I'm embracing all the power of AI. I believe that we should be aware of some challenges about AI. I think we should not say it's just the an amazing thing. I think it could have some how can I say, not so good sides, and we can embrace. But this, but is AI will AI replace all the things that we are doing? It's the main problem. It's AI.
Well, let's start with the beginning. Okay, there's two main point of view in the world these days, and especially when there's a new technology, there's a lot of bashing. So you hear a lot of AI bashing. So some people believe AI will replace us and are afraid and are scared. I'm not. I do not think AI will replace human. And actually, the more you work with AI, the more you understand that the quality needed to tame the AI are purely human. Uh, Only a human can work with AI. And as far as business goes, no customers are AI based. You don't sell to robots, you sell to humans. So all the qualities that were needed to build a business for decades and hundreds of years probably are still human qualities. So as far as AI replacing us as human, I do not believe it. Will it replace some tasks? Will it replace some job? Definitely. But it will not replace us. Simply, and let's start with that main fact. When you work with AI, you do need to apply human judgment. If you work with AI and trust it blindly, you will hit a wall. You will have problems. You will fail. You need to have judgment. And judgment is a human quality. So maybe we can dip further into how you do that, how you address that judgment. But first of all, we will not be replaced because judgment is needed.
Absolutely, and I had this conversation in the warming up in the backstages with Laurent as well, and this is a lesson that for those of you watching. And by the way, for those of you watching, don't forget to bring your questions. I I was sharing my journey with AI, and one of the problems I had some days ago is AI kind of guessing, and this is, I believe this is one of the problems with AI. So this is why is it so important to have this judgment and to take a look at the outcome. But another thing that, and linking this to your to the conversation and to what you said, Laurent, one of the things I've been noticing is that with all the interaction, with all the insights I'm providing to the AI, and I use it mainly to be my assistant. Okay, so she's starting to understand my tone. Okay, so it's not bringing this kind of neutral outcomes. She start talking and thinking like me, and with this I get a kind of a tailored result. Your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I very much appreciate that you say she because I do the same. Except when I'm upset, I call her here E, you know. But it's a she for me too. So perfect. We're aligned on that matter. Um, okay. First of all, you said it's your assistant. It's the same for me. And actually, it's not a assistant. I have many assistants that I'm working closely with. I do spend approximately 12 hours per day working with AI. And I mean, as assistant, not as the core of my business itself, what it provides for me, what services it provides for me. And one of the constraints that I have on working on a daily basis is the notion of continuity. When you start a project, when you go over a subject with AI, you know when you start, you never know when you finish. And as human, you know, we need to sleep. We need to go to bed at some point. And you can be sure that if you don't apply some rule that we apply in our company, next day you will be in notion of problems when you want to resume your tasks. So first of all, the notion of continuity is very important. What we do when we work with AI is every time we reach threshold, something very important, what I do is I ask the AI to create for me, to write for me what we call an operational book. So the operational book is a sum up of every task we did, every problem we encountered, every solution we found. And not only do I ask the AI to write this operational book, but I ask it, he, she, to make it as a PDF file that I download immediately and that I keep on my computer locally. Because you better believe, Marco, that on the next day, if I want to resume the task, and usually you cannot resume it on the same thread, the same chat, because the chat is overloaded and gets slow, and you need to open a new thread. You have some foundation that you can upload to the AI, and then it's not 100% problem proof, but it helps tremendously. So first thing first, do not forget to create operational book, or you name it the way you want, by the way. We call that op book. You call that by the theme the task you're building, but do that, download the PDF, keep it on your computer, then upload it back to the AI. So that's one thing that is very important.
Well, that's good to know, because, and for instance, I believe that this is a nice reason to create these kind of resumes or synthesizations, whatever you want to call it, because besides the thing that we will pick the next morning and this could erase some information, we never know when platform like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini will go away, and then bye-bye to the information. Right?
You are completely right, Mark. That's a very fair approach. And even for yourself, today you reach a certain result with Claude. Are you going to be happy 6 months from now with Claude? Do you want to move your information to Gemini? Do you want to move it back to ChatGPT? You have to have a broad view and approach. And also, there's something that is very important to understand with AI. As now, AI has a real scalability issue. What I mean by that is, if you address one problem, if you ask one question, you probably going to have a great answer. If you ask a derivative of that question 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, you're going to see some lost quality. Quality will start diminish. Now, if you want to reach a certain level and you ask to be operational and want to have scalability of 500, 1,000 items, AI cannot do that yet. It's not operative that way. So same thing, how many of you guys, Mark, I'm sure you've done that, you ask some really deep questions, some deep code issue, whatever you do, and AI starts delivering you, even if you ask to be step by step, 20 bullet points, and you just tell the AI, okay, please stop at bullet point number 2. Let's start there. And it gives you another 20 bullet points. And by the time you've answered 5 questions, you need to browse back on the top to start resuming where you're at. So you see, the notion of scalability when you work with AI is a big problem. And it requires, again, a lot of judgment and a lot of human quality, because AI, and that's probably a financial reason behind that, by the way. I believe AI today will want you to not to spend too many tokens. They don't want to spend too many tokens, so they're going to deliver as much information as they can in one single answer. And when you work with AI, that's a real problem. So it requires diligence, it requires organization, and there are tools to do that, but those are human tools.
Absolutely. And you were talking, and I was thinking about so many issues I had with AI, and sometimes I want to just yeah, because again, we tend to treat, because this is so brand new and we are used to the search box on Google, and we tend to well, I start educating myself and reading and getting information how to interact, but I believe that most people, they just go to ChatGPT, whatever, and write me something about this, and there you go, and that's the point. And the thing is, sometimes the AI gets crazy, and we should avoid this. I was thinking about for instance, I can tell an example. Usually, when I get my episodes, I have two shows. It's one in Portuguese, o Criador Content, and this one in English, the Special Marketing Live Show. And I've trained the Portuguese version, okay, but and one of the things I asked is, when you come up with the blog article, having in mind the previous episodes, suggest some, like episode 2, okay, so if that thing, if you like this, you may like this as well. And most of the times it comes up with titles that I never had.
Yes, it does. And actually, I've had examples of AI blatantly lying. It is lying. So I'll let you put your example, but I've had a few months ago an example where she was lying, and I caught it lying, and I told the AI that it was lying, and it admitted it was lying. So this is pretty. I'm not worried about that. Again, Marco. Judgment. You know, you do not let AI control what you do, control what you think. You are in control. If you were 5 years ago and someone was lying to you, what would you do? If it was a human, you know, you would have your own judgments, or would be naive. It's your choice. It's the same with AI, you know.
Yeah, and there's another episode I want to share with you, and I want to have your perspective as a professional, as an entrepreneur, as a content creator as well. And I think this could be problematic, so problematic that you see people trying to be gurus, recommending people to do this. So let me share this. I made my last episode of my Portuguese podcast was about this topic. So I was scrolling on LinkedIn, and this post kind of hit my eyes, and I took a deep look. So it was like this. So you go to YouTube, you find a trending video, a video with lots of views, whatever, and blah. Then you go to ChatGPT or whatever, and you can create a carousel about this video. Then you can share it on LinkedIn, and there you go. You have an amazing carousel based on an amazing video. So this will be great. And I start wondering first, and for me this was one of the first red flags. He never mentioned that the video should be yours, or if it's not yours, you should mention the source. And for me, this was kind of the first big red flag. Second, is that video aligned with your business, with your tone, with what you want to do? Another. And then I went to the comments, and lots of people criticizing, and the reply from the guy who made the post was, "Oh, this is creating value." But the thing is, first, it's not just about creating value for the audience. It's good to create value, but ultimately it's for me as a business owner. I want to create value so people want to hire me or want to buy from me. And lastly, but not less important, let's pretend this carousel, it's about something that you proved knowledge with the what you made with that content. Then people approach to you, and because of course you copied the thing, it's not yours, you were just there to freeload. You don't have the knowledge, you don't have the authority, you can't bring trust to the table if you are doing this, because people will ask, "Oh, so what do you recommend to my to my business. You are not telling people to go watch the YouTube video. So, what your thoughts on this? Because this is tempting. Let's face it. It's
Yeah.
tempting to rely on going to after other content from other people and let me create my content based on that.
That's very interesting, Marco. So I think from that aspect, there are three things I want to talk to you about. First of all, the simplest one. In terms of generative AI, and especially content and text generative AI, believe it, Marco, AI, especially ChatGPT, leaves a ton of watermarks within the text. I mean, now my eyes are educated, and I can tell you in a second that the text has been created by the AI. And it's not only about the word, but the shape of the dashes, the spaces, the bullet points, so many things. And so many people write today, and smart people, I read a post on X a few days ago from a politician back in France, if anything, that wrote a 2,000 word text, very serious, very proud, very, quite, I don't know, this is it for him. And every single line was a proof that it was redacted and written by AI. And so can you imagine that when you have people that are supposed to be our leaders that today cannot not only disclose that they're using AI, but they're not using it properly. They're not even trying to hide the fact that they're using the AI. They just copy and paste. So yes, first thing, you have watermarks everywhere. If you're good enough, you can try to hide it a little bit, but there are watermarks. Now, you mentioned a word that is very important. That's the word trust. In my line of business, right now, we're working in AI and especially voice AI. This is a question that we asked ourselves very early in our project. We thought we were delivering an AI, a voice AI solution to our customers. We very quickly understood that we were building a trust solution, not an AI solution. Why? When you're a local business, when you're a small business, you've spent years building your relationship with your customers using your voice, whether it was in person, whether it was over the phone. You built a relationship that was based on trust. Now, if that trust is to be delegated to an AI, a voice AI, a robot, are you going to be trusting a company that doesn't disclose it's working with AI? I do not think so. So as far as what I do, anybody can visit our social media, and they will obviously say that we use generated video. We even leave the watermarks on the video because I don't care. I'm disclosing that I'm using AI. I do not have a problem because this is not the video itself, the generation itself that matters. It's the content of the video. And that content was solely created on what the message we wanted to convey. So I'm a strong believer into disclosing that you are using AI. And then the third point, which is immediately linked to that second point. As a voice AI creator, we have today solution, for instance, to clone voices. So if a small business that works with you says, can you clone my voice? Our answer is very simple. Technically, we can. We do not want to do that because, again, we are trying to build a trust solution. Imagine that tomorrow, as a small business, you have a long-time customers that calls over the phone, that start interacting with your phone line. The voice is the same, right? It sounds the same, it's natural. That after 3 minutes, the discussion interactions seems to be awkward. Why? Because of course they're talking with an AI, not talking with a real person. At that moment, you're breaking trust. As the business owner, you've lied to your customer. You do not have disclosed that they are talking with AI. Not only you do not have disclosed, but by cloning the voice, you've lied to your customer, trying to make him believe that they're talking to you. So you see, those are what we call guardrails. Those are trust tools that needs to be implemented in our projects, but as far as I'm concerned, in every single AI interaction.
Okay. You are taking the conversation to where I want. Shame on me. Yeah, because this is could be another situation, which, and this is more, let's take the conversation back to the human personality and our human behaviors. Like, our ego sometimes tend to tell us you should be everywhere, you should show up everywhere. So this is why some, they want to have their voices on the AI things, and after, as you said, after a moment they start to look weird. And embracing the idea, it won't be me, it will be Maria, it will be Jonathan, whatever you want to call it. They will know that it is an AI, okay? They will expect AI tone, they will expect AI, how can I say, outcomes and whatever, but they know that it's the company, and okay, it's hopefully well prepared. Don't you think that this, and let's get back to ego, and okay, this could be a both way conversation, because one, with our ego we pretend, and I made this once, like using a video AI tool, having my face, and I made a stupid thing. Was I got one video of mine, I got the script, I uploaded to that tool, I put it there, a photograph, to do what I was doing in the other video. So just to look trendy, just to look trendy. I asked an AI tool to do something that I already did. So just to try. So, but the thing is, sometimes, and I think this is a sign of the time, like, we see some people, business owners or freelancers like me, that they are, for nature, they are shy, so they don't appear, and they could fall in the temptation of using these tools. Or we can see these people which are pretty egocentric, and they like to appear everywhere, and when they can't appear, they train an avatar looking like them with their voice to show up.
Listen, Marco, first of all, you didn't do a mistake. You didn't do an error. Our life and our approach of AI nowadays, it's of the novelty of itself, is all about understanding how it works. Nobody knows yet. Nobody knows.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
I've done the same thing as you did. Literally. And you know what? We're living in a marvelous time, wonderful time. I'm still like a 5-year-old kid when I see a generative video or an image. I think this is amazing, or song, generated song. I think this is something that I wouldn't have dreamt of 3 years ago. So put that aside. If you want to use an avatar, I'm perfectly good with that. Why not? Again, if it is disclosed, and if the content is your content and yourself and what you want to convey, I'm game. It works, Just make sure that you are not breaking the trust you've created all the years you've been working on your podcast or whatever field you're working on. Trust. Okay, let's put it this way. I tell you we're not going to be replaced by machine and AI. Let me rephrase it a little bit. If we break that trust that we have to each other, then we might be replaced. This is the strongest link as human that we have, that is making that we are human and that we are going to still work together. If we break that trust, I read, I'm slightly changing the subject, but I was reading an article about an economic, very smart guy, that said that the core problem of crypto money is that it's a profound trust break with institution. Basically thinking that you cannot trust banks and that you keep your money on the crypto wallets, break trust, and it's the core foundation of what we've made as a society. Well, it's the same thing with AI at the end of the day. If we start lying and not disclosing that we're using AI and therefore breaking the trust, we are breaking something that is the core of our human relationship. And in that way, there I can foresee danger. But At the end of the day, I don't think that happening. Why? Because if you break the trust once, you don't need to break it twice. You're already out of the game. And so this is, again, what I'm telling you. As a company, this is our foundation, but this is also our obsession. Building trust and making sure that that trust is the core of what we're doing. And I think that whatever you think about doing with your podcast and growing, because we've been discussing that before, trust will be kept. And if it's kept, you're safe.
Absolutely. I think yes, of course, because one of the things that for me it's kind of unnegotiable is having me. And when I started my the other part, because this was started live and that's it, and even though I had some breaks, but this was live. The other one, which started 1 year ago, I started with recorded episodes, but after, I don't know, maybe the fifth or sixth episode, I said, okay, no, I'm a live guy, so let's do it. So people, when they see the nuggets, when they see the content that I create after that, they realize this is the guy. There's no way you can. And the thing is, it's video. It's always video, so there's no, well, even though the video it's going in a dangerous way as well, replying us or replicating us. So, but let's let that conversation to another episode. But I want to talk about your tool because it made me curious about some things. One, it's this approach, because we know that there are chatbots that can talk with us, and it's a nice thing. Let's face it, it's nice because we know that the difference between going to a website and nobody's there to talk with us and having something that can work with us or can talk with us or write with us, whatever. It makes a difference. But you brought another completely new level of interaction, right?
Yes, at least we've tried. And actually, what we've succeeded in, and again, you're going to think that I'm repeating myself because it's the core of what we do. How do we ensure that trust? Okay. And this is what we think differentiate ourselves from our competitors. But what we've done at GetOblic is create basically a directory, which is listing businesses page, which can be compared to yellow pages, 40 years ago. The only difference is each of those pages, when they're created by the company, immediately deploy an AI, a voice AI, that is available on the page for free and trained with the company information. What does it do? Of course, there's a voice AI that answers customers, but even that, it allows the business owner to understand what voice AI is, to interact with the voice AI, to see how easily it can be trained and implemented and enhanced. And in turn, when the business can start interacting with its own voice AI for free, then you create, as a business owner, remember what I said, the trust factor between our customers and our solution. Once that trust is built, now the business owner can decide to subscribe to our solution. And then the voice AI becomes a voice line that he can use to transfer his calls whenever he's up work, whenever he's busy, and even can use the widget code to implement it on his website. And when he does that, there's a serendipity factor that happens, which is very interesting. I don't know if you know that, Marco, but Google measures the time people spend on the website. If they spend enough time on the website, and actually more time on the website compared to the competition, they will index the website higher. How do we know that at GetOblic? Because it happened to us when we deployed our, as now 1.8 million listing pages with as many voice AI. We've had incredibly tremendous results on the indexation with Google. And we were obviously looking at having good results, but not that good. And we understood that the reason those results were good was that people were spending more time on each business page, which create retention. And in turn, this retention is understood by Google and is appreciated by Google. That turns into indexing. So now you can easily imagine, Marco, that any of our customers that apply that voice AI on its website not only gets an AI voice product that you can trust, but it gets also an SEO retention tool that improves indexing. And believe me, Marco, when we created the platform, we didn't think about it. So this is real serendipity. And as a business owner, and I've been doing that for, it's not my first rodeo, but I'm a strong believer in serendipity. Serendipity is different from pivot. Pivot is when you reach a wall and you need to, okay, we change the way we work. Serendipity is different. Serendipity is you dig enough so you find another bone, and that's exactly what happened to us.
Yeah, and this is funny because we hear lots of people talking about killing SEO and blah 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 because in the digital marketing world we should be killing something every day. Email is dead for I don't know how many years, SEO whatever, and we can tell that SEO remains a thing. And one of the biggest struggles I had, because when I started my business as a marketing consultant, I was selling the idea about how important it is to have a website. One of my biggest struggles was telling people should remain on your website because this will tell Google if someone stays long enough time. This is telling to Google that you have a relevant website. Otherwise, it doesn't. But they say, oh, I want a simple, blah, blah, no big text, because people will leave if we have big text, like, okay, I want to hear the music. How long is the music? Oh, 4 minutes, too long. Have you heard about Bohemian Rhapsody? So this is crazy. And the fact that I can get, because this is one of the challenges, because even though you can have lots of information on your website, you never have the whole information. And with your tool, I can see another really important thing, which is feedback. Because if you go to a website and there's a tool that you can interact with, you can say, look, I want to know this. Maybe you should put more information about that. Because you don't have it. When you have the tool and you can monitorize what people are searching for, what they need, what they ask, this will make a huge difference. Don't you agree?
I don't only agree, but this is literally, you just point your finger, and I'm telling the audience we discussed that before. And so, but you're pointing the finger on exactly what differentiates ourselves from other voice AI companies. Let me tell you why. When you are a voice AI company, you look for business owners. You do what we call, looking at the stars. You show, oh, I've got the best voice, and it's a lady, and it's smooth, and it talks this way, and your customers gonna love it, Yeah, exactly. It's kind, and you're gonna love it. And by the way, yes, it's kind. It needs to be elegant. It needs to be patient. It needs to work 24/7. But those things, it's the same for every other company. Now, what do you do as far as training the voice AI? And the biggest advantage we have at GetOblic is that we have 1.8 million voice AI that are working. We have hundreds of minutes per day of discussion between business owners from many different fields with customers. Now, all those discussions are data. Those data are treated on a daily basis by a company and are fed back to the voice AI agents in order to train them even more with a crowd training, what we call crowd training approach of voice AI. And it makes the voice AI we're deploying for each business, very specific and very well trained. And again, this is something that it's very hard to do on a scalable with scalability. And in order to deal with scalability, it all comes back to data. And again, data has nothing to do with AI. Data is something that you Google that. So basically, what we're trying to do is deliver a voice AI with good quality, but not looking at the stars, looking at the instruments. Like a pilot. We measure things. We have how many people are addressing that point for chiropractors, for real estate brokers. What kind of interaction do they have? How can we treat those information and feed it back to the machine? This is exactly the approach we have.
Awesome. Because again, and I think maybe this happened with you as well at the beginning, and it happens with all the business, I believe, and in all the, how can I say, the different perspectives or the different operational things within a business. As much as you do, as much as you get feedback. And for instance, one of the recommendations I have for people on my other podcast, because it's more oriented for creators, is when you start getting in front of the microphone or the camera or both, you'll start getting ideas, because this happens often with me. Like I'm on an episode, sharing my ideas, and suddenly I think maybe I should go a little bit deeper in this topic in the next episode. Or once the recording is over, I think, I missed this, because there's the finished product. There's the finished content. So having in mind this dynamic, this organic, like, okay, one of the good things about this voice, oh my God, this voice service,
voice agents, yeah,
voice agents, is that you will get more ideas, you will get more insights, you will get a deeper conversation and connection with your customers, which in other ways won't be happening, right?
Okay, there's many things with what you just said. First of all, this is, believe it or not, the reason I try to do as many podcasts as I can, not to pitch my product. If people find my product through podcast, it's great. But there's not a single podcast that I do where when I close my computer and go down to have a glass of water, I say, okay, they asked that question. They mentioned this. I have learned something. It's going to make my business better, because when you work long enough with AI on a daily basis, you lose those human interactions. Right now, podcast have a way for me, and as a business owner, to engage with people, to share ideas. And this is the core of the reason we're doing podcast. Now, as far as what AI can do for all those businesses, when you're a small business, remember what I said, I don't think AI will replace human. Not only I think that, but from my perspective, it makes me definitely a better worker. It enhances me, and in some aspects, it makes me a better human. But that's a different subject. But it's really it gives you superpowers, basically. So as far as small and local businesses, and that's what we notice on every interaction that we have, it's leveling the playing field. It gives access to small and local business owners to tools that they would not have the resources before to access. Multi-language response, professional call handling, structured information. Okay, you have to understand that a small business, and I know you do, Marco, lives in the moment. This is what we call the moment economy. You miss a call, not only you miss a financial opportunity, but you probably ruin your day. Oh, I missed that call. My week is done. I'm upset. And if you're upset, do you do your work correctly? No. Now, if you're a company with 30,000 employees, what does a missed call represent? Nothing. Those companies have quarterly, have annual reports. They have boards. Small business do not have boards. They have the moment. And if that moment is not protected, if that moment is not safe, it has many, many implications. Now, before we used to have voicemail. Okay, you leave a message, but now we live in the instant, right? Nobody can, as a business owner, wait until the end of the day and see, oh, I missed that call, I'm missing that customers, and he's going somewhere else. Then you have chatbots. Chatbots are good too, but chatbots, they don't convey emotion. So right now, I don't know if you know, Marco, but not only our solution, but voice AI solutions understand human emotions. So that's a big thing. If the voice AI can understand the customer, it can respond to him in a way that is appropriate. And as human, I would say that we don't do that every day. I don't think that I answer my customers as good on Friday afternoon that I do on Monday morning, Well, voice AI does, So I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying that as long as you have guardrails, meaning that you put the voice AI in a box and then you have fallbacks, which means that voice AI know when it's time to send the customer to the business owner. If you have those guardrails, you have an awesome product that will in turn allow and free the business owner, which will create growth, which will allow him to hire more people. I'm saying human people. And in that way, voice AI is really game changing.
Well, you were talking about that, and I was thinking about those customers which are pretty upset, yelling, and on the other side, a human being that could yell back or be destroyed, because it could happen as well. And this reminds me also of a situation I had a couple of times. I was doing the Camino. Probably you heard about the Camino de Saint Jacques. So I was doing the Camino, and I'm usually I have my headphones. I'm listening to music, and so it's connected to my cell phone. And I got this call, and because I was I was not looking at my phone. I got it. And on the other side, hello, this is from a cell phone company, a company here in Portugal, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I'm not interested in your proposal. And she replied, but how do you know? But in a not so nice kind of way, how do you know this is a proposal? And I asked her, look, you called me. I think that probably you're not saying good morning to me or telling about the weather or whatever. I think so. I'm gonna hang the phone. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. This is another problem, which is we can't monitor the mood of our call center operators, and some of them, they could be in a not so good mood. And we should think about this as well, because this is something that sometimes as business owners we forget, which is the touch points that someone has with your company. So if you have humans, okay, that at some given day they are not in a good mood and they react, or they are kind of not in a good mood, this will affect our company. And the call center, most of the times they are not even from the company. We don't know the name. We forget completely the name of the person that called us, but we don't forget the company they were calling us.
Many things there. First, not every call deserves an interruption. I'm sorry. You're busy with your day. You're busy with your task. You're busy with your customers. How many calls per day do we receive that do not deserve a call? Then what you do, you put on voicemail, right? But then you have something which is the psychology of the missed call. Am I missing something? Will they call the competitor? Did I just lose $200? So there's a fine line between those things where we've dealt with that for years. I'm not saying we haven't dealt with that, but the world is ever changing. Now, if you don't deal with that yourself as a business owner, your competitor will, And let's put it this way, Marco. The telephone is a crazy invention when you think about it. It's a service that you subscribe for, you pay for. They provide you with 10 digits. And from that moment on, anybody in the world at any time can decide to disturb you, on their own purpose without you wanting that call. So can you imagine? This is insane, right? So we had voicemail, then we had answering machine, you name it. Now we have a tool, and believe it, Marco, I love voice AI, and I hope my company is going to be big and successful, or whatever. But what I know is whether it's me or my competitors, voice AI will be everywhere. This is obvious, and now it's time to differentiate yourself as a business, because in a few years everybody will have it, and only the company that have been ready and that have been again building trust will be the one dominating the market.
Absolutely. And I say this all the time. That's one of that conversation, that thing that I mentioned before about the LinkedIn post. For me, this is all about trust, because, for instance, and we never know how many turns the world does, but the thing is, I get a video from someone and I don't credit him for the video. This is a trust thing. If someone thinks that I'm a pretty wise guy and know a lot about that, but the video, the main source of the content, it's not me, this is a trust breaker. If someone asks me and wants to do business with me based on my content, which is not mine, this is a trust thing. And the other thing is, we are in a world that is so tiny, and people may know what Laurent did from me and from other people. So it's important to understand the value, the weight of this trust thing by these days. And talking about trust, I remember that one of the biggest challenges was replicating the human voice, because back in 2000, well, maybe in the 90s, when we thought about robotic voices, we all have this Star Wars thing. Your AI is not like that, right?
No, not at all. It's splendid, and I'm not talking again only by voice AI. You have to understand that as a company building a tool and deploying it to small businesses, we do not see ourselves our voice AI creator or our AI creator. Let the big seven, let the huge company create those products. We work with big companies that create voice AI. Our work is to make it a solution that is easy to use and understand from small and local businesses. So as far as voice AI goes, the playing level is leveled. Voices are beautiful. You have 100 choices. You can even today use some actor voices. This is insane. You can do amazing things. But the most important evolution right now, as I told you earlier, is how not only convey emotion, but it understands emotion. And I think that's where it's really changing the game. When the voice AI understands who it's speaking to and it addresses the way it speaks, we're getting very close to what the human capability. But again, and I insist, you need to disclose that. You do not want to break the trust with your customers. And there was also something that I wanted to mention, and it's also overall got the subject. we're talking about voice AI, we're talking about phone, but the problem that small businesses have at the end is, how do I get away from my phone? How do I get the mental relief from the phone? You're a business owner, you close the door at 7. Do you want to go back to your family and your wife? You go on the weekend, you want to stay with your family. Are you worried that you're missing something? We've all been through that. So same thing. If you have a voice AI that is trained properly and that you can let work while you have that mental relief, you're not missing opportunity. You don't have clients that are left hanging, you don't have late night answers, and that mental shift, changes everything as a business owner.
Awesome. And I'm by the way, for those of you watching, after this is, and I will put a link so you can try GetOblic, because I believe some of you may be curious about. Of course, you will have also the links to find Laurent. You will have for sure. So because the conversation went fast, before finishing, I have this section. I don't think that I mentioned this to you, so this will be a surprise, but you have to go. So let's go to this section. So now it's time to cover the guest favorites. I brought this section back because I believe it's one of those nuggets that my community, they like to consume, because I get some favorites from my guests, some books, whatever, and I believe this is nice to share with. So Laurent, now I want you to share your favorites. A book. I will say it, and now I will remind you. A book, a TV show, a movie, a tool, and a habit. Okay?
Okay. It's not prepared, by the way. So let's start. I'm going to give a book, but it's going to be business related, because I want your audience.
Your choice. Your choice.
Yeah, no. But it really changed my mindset regarding business. And I think if that's something that I can share with the audience, it's called The Infinite Game. It's a guy called Simon Sinek that wrote it.
Yeah. From the Start With Why. I have that book.
Exactly. And, it makes you understand when you're building a company that you set up goals, right? You have thresholds, you have ambitions, you sometimes you have quarter, but the problem with that is that every time you build something, you build only for that goal. And unless you're a huge company, when you're a small business, what do you do after that? What's the next step? It's kind of difficult, because you can get to a point where you get too comfortable because you reach that threshold, and the Infinite Game is about, from day one when you build a company, going beyond those goals, having a view about scalability. And obviously do read that book, and it will change a lot of perspective.
Awesome.
Now, next one.
A movie.
Okay, I'm a movie buff, so I've for a very long time thought that I would not be able to give a movie, but I've decided that I can. I have actually, can I tell 2 movies?
Yeah.
Okay. I love Catch Me If You Can, the Steven Spielberg movie, and Brian De Palma, who's my favorite director. It's called Carlito's Way. And when I say those are my favorite movie, I would say those are perfect movies. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. TV show.
I don't have the time anymore to watch TV shows, so it's going to be probably an old one, right?
It's okay.
But no,
but the thing is, there's lots of old TV shows that they were amazing.
I agree, but you know what? One of the last few years, I love. If you want to have a laugh, I love Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is the funniest. It's very funny.
Okay. Now, last two ones. A tool.
An AI tool or a wrench?
No, no. A software or so.
Okay. Okay. I think in terms of generative video, I use Agen, Heygen. It's pretty good and it's quite cheap. So yeah. And right now, I think that overall, Gemini is doing tremendous as far as AI. I use it a lot. Gemini is very strong. So I would say that if you start with AI and you want to have images and content, you can use Gemini. If you want to have video, Agent, that's good. And I'm never bashing ChatGPT. I still think, although sometimes I want to break my screen, I still think it's very strong.
And last but not the least, a habit.
I smoke cigarettes. I'm sorry.
That's not a good one. No.
I mean, after that beautiful discussion, I do not want people to think I'm a perfect person.
Okay, Laurent. Don't follow Laurent's habit, please. So, where people can find you and also GetOblic?
Yeah. So, first of all, Marcos, thank you so much. It was a really great discussion. I had a lot of fun and could have lasted 4 hours. But if anyone had any questions and wants, I mean, if I can give advices, if I can give a little push to anyone, just go to getoblic.com. You go to the footer. We have tons of social media. You go to the media of your choice. You send a message, and I'll make sure I reply. This is very important nowadays as humans, again, to have a sharing perspective on things.
Okay, perfect. So as soon as this, this is Tuesday, so by Thursday for sure, all the links and all the stuff will be on YouTube, Substack. I recommend you to go to Substack. So, Laurent, merci beaucoup.
Merci. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marco. It was an amazing time.
Thanks to
Very good.
all of you watching us. By the way, Thursday will be the Criador Content, my show in Portuguese. So if you want to learn a little bit about Portuguese and then also about content creation, feel free to tune in. Thank you so
Obrigado,
much.
Marco.
I will. De nada. I will be back next week with another amazing tool. By the way, I will be talking about another tool in the next episode, Streamly. So we will be doing this. Streamly, it's a tool for content, for monetizing content, if recorded content or live shopping. Okay, so feel free to join. So it's time to say goodbye. Play the final music.
And that's all, folks.
See you. Bye-bye. Thank you.